I want to achieve a certain goal. I want to implement Islam. Right? I want to live by Islam. Right? Okay, because I'm Muslim, I want to live by the code of Islam. Right, but you know what? I'm not going to implement Islam, all of it, because, you know, that's going to be quite difficult. So what I'll do, I'll start rationalizing, and I'll see what steps are the best way to implement Islam. So what I'll do, instead of implementing Islam completely, what I'll do, I might try and convince a bank to implement some Islamic policies, rather than implementing the whole Islamic economic system and the principles based on that. Or I want a particular, implement Islamic social system, but instead of implementing Islamic social systems, I try and convince a few people about the importance of modesty, or something like that. You start rationalizing the steps for yourself. You start thinking, I think Islam should be implemented this way, in steps and stages. So in effect, what's happening in gradualism is a person is dictating how the revelation should be implemented. That's the crux of it. So, whereas what we understand, what our noble scholars, our jurists have taught us, is that the mind does not decide how to implement something, or the manner in which to implement it necessarily. It has to be derived from the scripture, the text. The text guides us to tell us how something ought to be implemented, not how I feel something ought to be implemented. And this, I think, is the danger of gradualism. It's allowing the mind to come in over scripture and dictate how a religion should be implemented, rather than going to the source itself, to let the source tell a person or tell a society, to tell a state how to implement the religion. So this is really the idea of gradualism that seemingly seems to be sort of picking up somewhat, where let's implement Islam in stages and gradually, rather than at once, as it was during the Prophet's time. But as we just saw, to conclude, revelation came down, descended gradually, but its implementation must be holistically, but instantaneously. I'll open up any questions or comments.